Well, hello everybody, good evening, and welcome to a serious and involved conversation about the budget. Actually, no, we're not doing that. We're doing Lego. The joy thereof. I am beside myself with excitement as, I don't think I would qualify quite as an AFOL, but I am a parent of a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I own a lot of Lego. And about 3 weekends ago, I spent 8 hours repatriating all of the Lego back into color-coded drawers, and I felt really, really good as a consequence of that. So thank you very much all for being here. We're joined by some really talented people who do extraordinary things with those little plastic bricks. I want to hear all about your experiences of Lego. I want to see your builds if you have them. I want to understand what you want to build, what you fail to build, how it makes you feel. I want everybody to join in because tonight is a treat for us all. I'm going to start, if I can, with Emma Kennedy. Hello, Emma.
Hello.
Joins us from her Lego shed. Now,
Yes.
Emma is, some of you will know, I'm sure, that if you follow at Lego with on Twitter, or indeed you might watch Relax with Bricks on YouTube, Emma, you build Lego because it makes you feel good.
Yes, I do. But I'm. There are many Lego YouTubers who are on the internet, but I think I'm one of the only ones who does it in real time. Most Lego videos that you'll watch, it will be a speed build. But I discovered that doing it slowly, one bag at a time, just sort of sent me into a place of zen. And I came to Lego very late in life. I was over 50, or just 50, I think. But it was one Christmas, and I was with my nephew, and he came to me, and he'd been given a very small Lego set to do, and no one would help him do it. He was only 6 at the time. And I said, of course I would help him. And I started doing it. And I have a brain that goes at about 100 miles an hour, and it just quietened down completely. And I went away, and I couldn't stop thinking about how I had felt when I was doing that Lego. And I'd never had Lego as a child. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just thought you got bricks. I didn't understand that there were sets that you could make. And I saw Lissa Evans, who's an author who I follow on Twitter, mention that she had made the Lego Vw Campervan. So I thought, oh, I'm going to get that. And I got it, and it was a brilliant build for me to do because it was full of little intricate and lovely and delightful interiors that I wasn't expecting. And I suddenly thought, oh no, They've
got me now.
They've got me now. They've got me now. And then I was given the Ghostbusters Firehouse, which is a seminal set for my birthday. And that's the thing that then kicked it up to the next level. And I started putting little videos that were only 2 minutes long on Twitter. And somebody, just one person, said to me, do you know, please, will you film the entire build? And so that's where Relax with Bricks started. And now we have this wonderful community of people, all adults from all over the world, and we come together every single day, and I will build one bag of Lego, and they will watch it after the film has gone up, and then they will comment on it, and then I will read their comments out the next day. And what it's done is, number one, it's sort of really created a sense of family. Number two, it's sort of this lovely, calm, safe, accepting space. But it's just, I think one of the great things about discovering Lego as an adult now is it's like learning to play again. And it's something that adults have forgotten to do and don't do enough. You can, if you've got children, you can like have a game of football, or you'll play a board game with them, but you're not playing, if you know what I mean. And that is what Lego has done for me.
Emma, just for points of clarity, a bag of Lego, just for Tessa, who doesn't look
okay. All right.
inside a set.
Okay, so I'm currently building this.
Medieval blacksmith.
Okay, and so tomorrow I will build bag 8. So this, I've just broken it, but that's the good thing about Lego. It doesn't matter if you break it because you can just build it again. So that is the product of bags 6 and 7. So every day I will just do one bag and then that's how we progress.
And Emma, always buildings, you said. I mean, I know you did the VW Campervan to begin with, but buildings rather than aeroplanes, trucks, all the other stuff.
It's not always building. I have done ships. I've done pirate ships and Destiny's Bounty and big sets like that.
Yeah.
But I've generally got no interest whatsoever in the vehicles that you can. I've got no interest in the cars that you can build or anything like that. I like the tiny little details that come with their modular builds, or the bigger sets. My personal favourite set of all time is Ninjago City, which it's breathtaking. It's absolutely breathtaking. It's got a working crab oven in it. It's like, I really love all the moving parts. Like on this one, there's a brilliant moving part on this current build I'm doing, which is obviously this is the forge.
Yeah.
And here are some bellows.
Yeah.
And look.
Oh,
I mean, what's not to love about that?
Great. It's so satisfying.
So satisfying.
So satisfying. Brilliant. Thanks so much, Emma. I'm going to come back to you in a sec. I'm full of what I would think wouldn't lockdown have been so much better if instead of bookshelf envy, people were showing their Lego shed envy in the background, because yours is good, but I've got to say Warren's is a bit better.
Yeah.
in terms of Lego shed. And you said to me before we started, Warren, this isn't even half of it what we can see behind you.
Yeah, it's about a third of it you can see behind, and this is kind of the current build stock. So when we're building and designing our new models, we have all the parts in here all sorted and separated by part, but anything that we have more than that much of, which we have quite a lot of things we have more than that much of, is in a different part of the building in the bulk stocks.
So Warren, you're a Lego artist, and you build exhibitions and things that tour, and actually people will have been to them. I came across Build Wonders, which was the sort of Lego versions of the Wonders of the World, effectively. You could go and see. I came across it one wet afternoon in Banbury and had 2 hours of pure joy, indoor joy with my kids. Tell us about how you ended up doing this. You've been doing this for quite a long time.
Yeah, so I used to be in IT. I used to be one of those boring IT consultants flying around everywhere. But I was a fan of Lego as a kid, and I came back to it as an adult and became an adult fan of Lego. And basically I got my break in 2012. So at the time I got my first book contract to write Brick City, which is the first book I'd ever written, on the back of this model. And it was also, I was asked by Lego at that point to build something for the Olympics. So I designed and then built, with the help of a couple of other people, a model of the entire Olympic Park, which was sort of 1.5 meters wide by 3 meters long. But I mean, tiny. So like the hockey stadium was about that big. But you could come along and see the whole Olympic Park and where you were going and get your bearings. And that went on display during the Olympics. It was on display in the Danish Hospitality House. And then for the Paralympics, it went into Team GB's, or Paralympic GB's, headquarters. So I had that going on, and the book going on, and an IT career, and I couldn't really do all of them in the hours in a day. So I decided to take a leap and drop the IT career and jump into Lego. And
so this is literally your job.
Yes.
All you do all the time is building Lego, designing Lego, and all of the rest of it.
Yeah, anything that, I mean, we do all sorts of different things with Lego. So we have the exhibitions that you've seen. We build commissioned models for people if they want something for their offices or whatever. We do live events, and we have the touring exhibitions, but everything that we do is Lego. So there's always a Lego spin on it somewhere.
Interesting. So, Warren, I'm going to pick up on something that E. Ferris has mentioned in the chat, and I think this is a good and brave question to kind of get out of the way first. Emma talked about the safe space, it's welcoming, it's kind, all of that. When you Lego nerds find one another and hang out together, what do people say to you when you say, actually, I'm a Lego artist? And has it changed? There's sort of suggestion here. I'm sorry, E. Ferris, I don't know what your first name is, but a suggestion that before lockdown, people have been like, Lego, and sure, Lego's your job. And now it's been like, oh, Lego, cool. Like people have more of a sense of, well, I've got time on my hands, I'm creating something. What do people say? What do people think of it?
There has been that change, but I don't think it's been over lockdown.
Okay.
So when I started, so that's 9 years ago now, I definitely got the, you're doing what? Really? Is that really a job? So 10 years ago, that was definitely the thought. And adults didn't play with Lego. That was a kid's thing. So, I mean, there've been adult, AFOL groups for years and years and years. But we kind of met up at the weekends and did shows at the weekends, but you didn't really talk about it at work because your co-workers would just think you were very strange and weird. Mm-hmm. But that has changed over kind of since the Lego movie came out. So about 5 years ago, and over the last 5 years, that's really changed. And it's acceptable now, I guess.
And Lego Masters, I imagine, has had a big impact on that. But it's noticeable now that a lot of the sets aren't really for playing; they're for display. And that Lego are clearly trying to make a play for the adult fan of Lego market. There's no doubt about that. That's a big change.
Do you know what? I really noticed that with what my kids build. So that when they've had the sets, the Minecraft sets, you sort of make a scene from Minecraft video game, and then it just sits on the side and they don't touch it again. And I think it's a bit disappointing. Quite often they come with cool bits in, like you say, Emma, with your bellows, and something happens. Quite often there'll be a little cart that goes around the track, or a ghost thing fires something out of its mouth. It's cool, but they don't use it. I think maybe it's a bit perfect or something. One of the best builds we did off plan was we made our own Minecraft, on a big grey board like that, and we made a sort of Minecraft world, and Minecraft kind of lends itself to it because it's square edges and you can get quite a good finish without trying too hard. And that for me was much jollier than the sort of set build part of it.
I mean, I think the best Lego sets currently are the ones that have really funny moving parts, and you can tell that they've put them in for adults. Like that, there is a great modular building called the Brick Bank, and it has a laundrette which launders money. You actually launder money in it by it's got a mechanism by which you can properly launder money, and no child's gonna really sort of understand what that is about. But it's those little touches now that you can just see creeping into the sets that are clearly just there for the grown-ups.
We might play a film in a sec of some of Warren's work. Warren made little movie, like famous scenes from movies out of Lego, and it just gives a sense of what you can do. Admittedly, there's animation there too, but the character that you can get out of these bricks is amazing. But before I do that, I can see some questions about Lego ideas, which is a good segue, almost like we planned it, for me to come and talk to Steve Mays up in North Shields. Did you say North Shields or South Shields, Steve? I'm sorry.
North Shields.
Oh, there you go. And you're a Lego artist too, and you build, companies and things commission you to build stuff in Lego for them. And you have a design of Stephenson's rocket that you're trying to, that you're working on getting the numbers you need on Lego Ideas. Just explain to people who don't know what Lego Ideas is and how it works.
Okay, well, it's fairly new for me, actually. It's been around for many years and I've been aware of it. But actually, this was a lockdown project for me last year when things went a bit quiet and I was trying to juggle homeschooling and everything. I thought I'd have a go at something that had been on my mind for a while. So I've done, you can see it behind me, actually. I've done a much bigger version of Stephenson's rocket.
There it is.
An exhibition. And I thought it'd be good to try and do one and submit it to a website called Lego Ideas. Now, Lego Ideas is a website where you can submit a build that you've come up with, and if you can get 10,000 people to vote for it, Lego will officially consider it to be as making it into a set. No guarantees, of course. You have quite a long time to do it. I think you have to pass certain milestones. Like if you get to 1,000 votes within, can't remember now, a month or something like that, then you get another 6 months or so. You get up to about 2 years to gather the votes in. So I put this on there and it had a great start. I have to be completely honest, it's kind of gone a little bit by the wayside since then, because you really do have to keep hammering these projects in terms of getting exposure for them and getting people to vote on them. So this is a model that,
and you need 10,000 people to sort of vote for it effectively to support your bid.
Yeah, and that involves registering on the website to do it. So it's not a particularly easy thing to do. I think I'm on about 1,500 votes at the moment.
I voted for it today. Let's put the website in, please. We can get another 97 votes if we really.
I'll give it a plug tomorrow as well on Reluctant Bricks. I'll get all the AFOL wax to vote for it.
Thank you.
Your can I ask a few? This might be I don't know if this is a fair question or not. So when we were talking before we started, you said that you literally put every brick in place yourself. You've not got a team; it's you.
Yep.
So your fingers must be sore because that after a while it gets fairly intense when you do a lot of Lego building. If I were to say to you, right, Steve, I want to commission you to make me a tortoise. I want a big tortoise. I want it big enough for me to sit on in the office. How long does it take? How do you gauge it? Because how do you even begin to sort of price a commission like that? What will we be looking at to turn that around?
Well, if you'd have asked me a few years ago, it would have been very much finger in the air kind of thing, because it's almost impossible to know. I'm much better at that now, just from almost kind of square footage or cubic footage of how much space it's going to take up. Yeah. I wouldn't do a tortoise because I like buildings and inanimate objects. But aside from that, what I would then do, a lot of people say to me, do you design it in software first? Some people I think might work that way. I don't enjoy that stage of it for a big project. I do for smaller builds, but a big project like that, I would just start building. So I'd need photos of whatever you'd want.
You just start building without a plan.
Pretty well. I'm gonna relate this to buildings because that's my expertise area, I guess. A photo of a building is the plan for me. And say a building, if you can get an aerial shot from Google Maps, you've got the footprint. And if you've got a couple of side angles, it's just maths to work out the dimensions then. I don't see the point of then sketching it or designing it, because for me, those photos are the plan. So I just start copying then. And there's an awful lot of backwards and forwards. In fact, I often do a little time lapse of a build. So I'll put a camera up on hanging from the ceiling or something to do. Yeah. And if you were to watch that back, you'd see me taking bits down and putting them back up again and chopping and changing. Mm-hmm. It might be a tad quicker if I did plan it all from the start, but that isn't the fun for me. I like the building of it. So, and I find it easier. And the thing about some of the software that you can use is it wouldn't necessarily tell you if you've done a good job with making it structurally sound and that kind of thing. So you might design it and then come to build it.
And it won't work.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's completely fascinating. Well, I'm very open for anybody who wants to build me a giant Lego tortoise, even though Steve won't do it. Maybe Warren can knock me up a quick giant tortoise.
Sorry, just to interrupt, I'll tell you what an inquiry I had once that I turned down was a full-size model of Gordon Ramsay.
Oh, wow.
Why did you turn that down? That would be so brilliant.
I didn't fancy that. But plus, the deadline was about 4 weeks, which at the time was just, not doable for me.
Thank you so much. I'm loving this. I'm going to come to Abby Hayden in a second, who's our fourth guest, who's an enthusiast rather than a sort of Lego pro, but's written a book about sort of Lego therapy, effectively. Build yourself happy, it's called, and I think that's really interesting. But maybe let's pause. I also want to come to Jennifer Allerton and the mysterious e-ferris, who I believe is called Elizabeth, who've been very active in the chat, so we can get some sort of contributions from the floor as well. But let's just pause for a second and have a little look at that film I said about Warren's work, The Brick Flicks, it's called, Warren. Just before we play the film, tell us a bit about it. Why did you make it? Where can we see it? Is there a physical exhibition we can go and see? Because I think it's really funny.
There is a physical exhibition, but I don't think it's got any bookings for this year coming. Most things aren't booked for this year coming. It was came out of a book, and we'd done a few different topics, and I was chatting with the editor and stuff, and we ended up talking about films that we really like, and then we kind of sat and thought we could just go to town on a, making film scenes and posters and things out of Lego, and I wasn't sure how we were going to do it, and there's a lot of special techniques that we use for doing various things, but I love it. Some of the images are fantastic.
Let's have a look at let's have a look at the film. It's really lovely.
That's so brilliant.
Good. So good.
I once animated the food poisoning scene from Bridesmaids as a request from one of my viewers.
Yeah.
Well, I have to give proper credit for the video to a guy called Morgan Spence, who actually, we did all the model design, and then he did the animation for that video. And the really crazy thing is, he was about 13 when he did it.
Oh.
So we worked together with him, and I was like, I'm just feeling so old and inadequate now.
Never feel old and inadequate with that kind of Lego shed behind you, Warren. That is absolutely not appropriate. It's brilliant. I loved it so much. I'm going to bring in Abby now, if I can. Are you there, Abby? Thanks so much. You've waited patiently to bring your Lego insight, I guess, to us. Your book is lovely because it kind of renders a lot of the feeling of what we've been talking about, that there's something genuinely joyful and calming about playing with Lego in the right way, the sort of opposite end of the spectrum from stepping on it on the stairs in the night when you're on your way to the loo, which is the kind of the dark side of Lego, if you like. A couple of things I particularly wanted to ask you about is this sort of thing, which is the way people play with Lego. We've mentioned that, Steve does buildings, Emma isn't drawn to vehicles in the same way. You talk about some people really like to build it symmetrically, others just kind of freestyle and go off piste. I'd love to know, what can we learn about ourselves from the way we orient to the brick?
I think what Emma said at the start was really important, this idea that we're often quite fixated on the result, and as adults maybe we've forgotten how to play a bit, and that was what the book's aim was, that it would introduce grown-ups to the joy of playing again, where the purpose isn't the result, but the process. It's the finding out. It's the fun of the bright colours and the feel, and just the simple act of kind of clipping and unclipping the pieces. It's really satisfying. And I think Lego gives us it gives us a passport back to childhood. And so what I found, I've sort of experimented on a number of my friends by just giving them Lego, and I just see them become children again. And I see them sort of forget the people around them, because I had a launch event with my local MP who's really supportive, and there were, you know, everyone was sort of like, oh yes, book launch, and I put all these little boxes of Lego and all these little cards that said things like build something only in one color, or build the tallest thing you can. And then people were like, oh, okay. And like they lost themselves, even though they were in a crowded room with people all around them. They kind of zoned into it. So I think one of the things that playing with Lego in that way does is it sort of frees you from having to prove what you've done. You know, so much of what we do is provable. Here's the cake I baked. Look at my cake. And with Lego, you can have that too. Here's the amazing thing I built. But some of the fun is just putting it together and taking it apart and putting it together again in a different way, and just enjoying the sort of freedom to make something that doesn't work, or to make something that you didn't know what it was going to be, and it turns into something. So yeah, and then you do discover things about yourself. Like I always like to build symmetrically, so I sort of force myself not to. But I think what you find out is more how fun it is to have no plan.
So if you like to build symmetrically, why do you force yourself not to? That just sounds like it's more stressful.
Well, I mean, I don't usually, but you can. Like, you can sort of think, oh, what do I like? Oh, I like to have, I like to have elegance. What if I built something that wasn't elegant? Or I like to build something that definitely looks like a thing, but what if I tried to just build a random shape? It's more like, if you notice that you fall into certain grooves, you could just challenge yourself to try a different groove.
That thing about playing, I think, is interesting. And I see this in my kids, which is when they're building off plan. There's probably a terminology for building off plan, like not a set. When
it's
you
MOCing is my own creation.
My own creation. So when we're doing MOC, I sort of noticed them having to, and to be fair, I don't know why I'm making them be the only people at this episode. It happens to be too. You've got what you want to build in your head, and then you've got what you can actually build, which is quite different. But negotiating the gap between the vision and the reality is a really important life skill. Of course, you don't have that really with a set, because you just follow the instructions, and there it looks like it does in the box.
There is a halfway house, actually, if I can interject here.
Please do.
And it's something that I only started doing about a year ago, but when I began, I was slavishly following instructions, because obviously I felt like I didn't know Lego or how to do it.
Yeah.
But what I started to do was I would have the instruction booklet, and for want of a better phrase, I would pimp my ride. So I would turn it into something else entirely different. So I had the very enormous instruction manual for the Death Star, which is a very grey build, and I turned it into the Death Spa. So I built a room where a C-3PO is administering Botox to someone in a reclining chair, and there's a hot tub and things like that. This build behind me is going to be the Liza Minnelli Falcon.
Nice.
And I've just
fantastic.
Yes, and I've just built her laundry room that will be going in. So, you know, it's a really good halfway house, and it's really good at boosting your confidence, actually. Yeah. If you're somebody who's either been doing Lego for a while, or you're new to Lego, just get an instruction manual, which is vastly cheaper than actually getting the set. Just get anything you like the look of, and just make it your own. Just add little things to the rooms, change the rooms. You don't have to have the room as it tells you in the instructions. You can make it whatever you want.
And
so go on, Abby.
I just wanted to say, I've also found, sort of looking at it almost the opposite way round, that you can build something incredibly basic and you'll be amazed that other people can tell what it is. Like I've built llamas and birds, and like it's only barely visible that it's a bird. Like I know because I gave it feet and like a beak, but then you can say, what is it? And everyone knows. So I think like it doesn't look anything, it's not lifelike, but that gap between what you want it to be and what it is, like people can usually see through the gap.
Yeah,
and that also gives you lots of confidence. If you're just playing, you know that people will see, oh yeah, she was definitely making a tree, even though some of the tree had to be blue because I didn't have enough brown pieces. You know, people can be remarkably forgiving. There's something quite I find it quite touching. Beginning of lockdown, I invested in a big sack of Lego just on eBay. You can just get it because most of the sort of Lego that the kids have is in the house where they live with their dad, and I didn't have any in my house, and it felt really weirdly unfriendly for them to be in a house that didn't have any Lego in it. So I sort of ordered this Lego pack sack thing off of eBay. I think it was about £80, so not an insignificant amount of money. But what it was a family's whole childhood's worth of Lego that they'd accumulated over time, that they'd sort of organised back into colour-coded sort of bags within bags. And when it came, there was something really sort of personal and touching about the fact that it was there. You know, they sent this lovely note with it to say, we've had so much fun and our boys are 15 and 17 now and they're not going to touch it again, and here you are and we hope you enjoy it too. And there was something sort of rather nice about handing it on and handing it on and handing it on. And they're right, we've had an absolute hoot with the stuff we've made out of what they sort of didn't want anymore. There's something, I can't think of another type of a toy that you would have that connection with. I'm going to bring some people in from the room if I can. Could we go to Dan McEwen? I've seen you there sitting on your sofa. Are you there? Hi, Dan. Now, can we hear you?
Hello?
Oh, yes, we can hear you. Is that Mrs. McEwen sitting next to you?
Yeah.
Hello, Mrs. McEwen. You know what we're going to talk about now. I just wondered how you feel about what happened at your wedding.
I think I was just glad he was contributing towards it.
Dan, tell us the story of your wedding cake.
This was months before the wedding. I wasn't doing very much, I'll admit. And then it just occurred to me, wedding cakes don't taste very nice. And sometimes they can be a bit dull. And I just sat down with the Lego design software and designed my cake. Then it took, how long did it take?
It took weeks.
It probably took weeks to design it, and then order all the parts, and then a few more weeks of perfecting it and doing a load of electronics for it.
Had electronics?
Yeah.
It was a weekend to see a time-lapse video, wasn't it?
And then, yeah, a weekend of time-lapse. Here we go.
Here it is. So when you say you designed it in software, I think, and then
Yes.
you ordered all the parts. So do you have to individually say, I want 25 of these and 14 of these, and
Yep.
and it all came in one day, all the bits?
Yep. And that was
And
like
then
my own
and then
set.
you started building it.
Yeah.
And oh yes, because look, it's got all of the sort of electronic bits inside of it.
I'm intrigued to what the electronics are going to do.
Yeah. And
Well,
then on your wedding day, how did you cut it, or did you not?
We didn't.
We covered it in cupcakes, and we cut a cupcake.
Oh, I see. I see. And have you still got it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's got its very own box in our daughter's bedroom.
Oh, look at the little heart at the top.
Yeah, it's not built. It's in pieces at the moment.
Now, are we going to, oh, there you are at the top. Oh, it stopped. What did the electronic bit do then?
Oh, it'll show you.
Oh, here it goes.
Oh, wow.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, that's marvellous.
It was a big hit on the wedding day.
I bet it was. And Dan, what's your line of work? Have you ever done anything like this before? I mean, this is a very serious achievement we're looking at now.
I'm a software engineer, so I don't do much in the real world, as it were. So this is my escape from software.
It's absolutely brilliant. I feel completely staggered. And I'm so pleased that you went through with the wedding after losing your husband-to-be solidly for 6 weeks in advance to the Lego build.
It was touch and go with having all those Lego pieces all over the floor.
I bet it was touch and go. Thanks so much for sharing your story and your amazing wedding cake with us. And thank you for being here this evening. I'm going to go now, if I can, to Jennifer Allerton, because a while ago, Jennifer, in the chat, you were talking about something about a Lego league.
First Lego league, yeah.
So I don't know about a Lego league. What's a Lego league?
So I first got involved with it in 2013, and what it is, I put a link in the chat, I can put it in again. It is a competition for school students, and it's worldwide, but they do sort of regional and national competitions in the UK. And it's using the Lego Mindstorms robot. So each year there's a theme and a set of challenges they have to do to program this robot to do. So they have there's a table challenge where the robot has, I can't remember exactly what the time limit is, but it has a certain time limit. It has to go round and do a number of little tasks on this sort of set out table, and it gets points for achieving different tasks through the way they program it. So they're learning kind of programming skills and things. And there's, I think, an engineering section and a project section. So they also, as well as the robot side of things, for each year's theme, they do a bit of research and a project around whatever the theme is. So the first year I was judging it at a regional level. I think it was the natural disaster theme or something along those lines. And it was like preparing a town for natural disaster. So they have, it's all to do with engineering and getting children into engineering. So the IET is quite involved in that as well. And STEM, who do STEM ambassadors, quite a lot of
it's for kids, or for, did you say it's for kids or for grown-up students?
Secondary school.
Okay. So
mostly there are different there are programs for primary schools to be involved with. So actually I think it goes from age 9 to 16 or something. So
yeah,
5 and 6 and secondary school. But they're the ones that can get involved in the competitions. But then younger age, there's also sort of Lego League clubs still that the school can run, but they don't get involved in the sort of regional and national competitions, mostly at that level.
Do you still build Lego for fun, Jennifer?
Yeah, I do.
What's your favourite build?
So I like anything spacey. I have still in a box upstairs because I have nowhere to put it currently because I live at my parents' house, which is a mess. Yeah. I've got one of the Saturn Vs that's about a metre tall, so it's about 100th scale of the real thing, and that's really cool. I want to have that somewhere so I can kind of display it when I have somewhere to live properly. And I have one of the Women of NASA sets.
Yes.
I wanted to get one of the Women in Science sets as well. Oh, and I have basically anything nerdy science or space. So I have the dinosaur skeletons set as well that was quite recent. So some of it is kit, but I also enjoy just like designing and playing as well.
Interesting.
I don't have, like Emma or Warren, a lot of space to kind of store lots of trays of Lego. So
one day, Jennifer.
One day.
It's the dream to aim for.
Life goals. Life goals.
I'm going to have a nice big workshop full of it. But yeah.
It's lovely to see you, Jennifer. Thanks so much. I might try it now. Thanks. I'm not sure if they're actually there, but I'd love to talk to the llamas, Mike and Neil. Because
Mike and Neil!
Hey!
Mike and Neil,
please come in.
They are out. Oh my God! I've never seen you or met you in real life, and now here you are. I should explain. Mike and Neil are two of my beloved AFOL who join me on a daily basis.
So hang on, what's the whack part of AFOL? AFOL.
It's adult fans of Lego who are chums.
Who are chums.
So this is my beloved Mike and Neil, who I adore.
Hi, Mike and Neil. Tell us your Lego story. I want to know how you got into it. What's your favourite build, and what's your next build?
Well, we kind of came to it late as well. We've only probably been into Lego for a couple of years now. But we're very much into modular buildings, and we're currently building, Mike's just grabbing it now, Ninjago City Gardens.
Yeah.
So that's what we're on with at the moment.
Nice.
So we're kind of watching Emma's videos in the past at the moment, because we're not up to date with Emma's builds, because we're watching...
We're not living in the present day at the moment.
It's probably best not to be honest.
Who wants to?
Not much to recommend it.
Yeah, so we're watching back as Emma was building it in the past, as we're building it now, bag by bag. So we're really enjoying the sort of like the AFOL responses to what we're building on a day-to-day basis. It sort of like bonds the team together quite nicely, I think, seeing how people reacted to what we're actually physically experiencing.
Because quite often, like the books or the boxes will tell you the names of the minifigs or the characters, but what Emma and the AFOL do all together is come up with more of a scenario for it, so that they've got more of a characteristic, a background. It just makes the build a little bit more fun.
So I'm just watching the chat when Mike and Neil, first of all, is it Mike on the left and Neil on the right, like Ant and Dec? Is that how it works? As I look at you, are you Mike on the left and Neil on the right? Or the other way around?
Yeah, I'm Mike.
Okay, the other way around.
Formerly known as Tobermory. He got the wrong email. That's his catchphrase.
Emma has jingles for a lot of the AFOL as well, and they just get stuck in your brain.
This is all getting a bit niche, but I think I'm here for it. So look, I'm looking at what's happening in the chat. So have we got Charlie Peters, Rio? Let's see, it's moving. I can't read it. Are these
Hannah Forbes, Greg
Briggs,
Rosie Lee, Little Sue, they're all AFOL, yeah.
So have any of you met each other in real life?
No.
Most of it's all been through the pandemic, so it's been a way of joining other people through this hideous situation that we're in. We
are planning, once we're allowed, to have a group trip to Legoland.
Now,
that's a big plan.
I'm really pleased that you've brought up Legoland. In fact, should we bring in Sue, Christopher?
Oh yes, I have met Graham Triggs.
Rio.
I've met Graham Triggs.
Can I talk about Legoland? I went to Legoland. I am not a legit AFOL, but as you know, I'm a friend of AFOL, I would say. I don't know if there's like a sort of AFOL in law status I could claim, but I was really disappointed. Allies, Phoebe's suggesting I'm an AFOL ally. That I was really disappointed at the level of Lego-ness of Legoland. It wasn't Lego-y enough for me. I wanted literally the buildings to be made of Lego, or at least to look like they were made of Lego, but they just look like ordinary buildings with Lego inside. And I felt I wanted more, because as a child, the idea of Legoland, the original Legoland in Denmark, was so mind-blowingly amazing that could be a real place. And then I went to the thing in Windsor and I was like,
I only have one issue with Legoland, and that is I wish there were more Lego displays made with Lego, but Lego size, not the giant size stuff. I'm not talking about the big dinosaurs. I'm talking about, like I'd love to walk in and I think they have a Star Wars exhibit, but I want more of that. By the way, I have told you a white lie, and I must come clean. I have met Graham Triggs. I have met him, and we respect his authority.
Emma, you should take yourself to the Lego house in Billund. The Lego house is an amazing experience in Denmark.
I can't wait to go there. I would love to go there.
I can't hear who was talking actually just then. There you go.
Oh, sorry, that was me.
Tell us about the Lego house. I don't know about the Lego house. What's that?
So the Lego house was built. It's basically the home for Lego fans. So whereas the Legoland parks are more sort of theme parks and you've got rides and roller coasters and things, the Lego house is just for Lego fans. And it's in Billund, which is the town where Lego was started in the middle of Denmark, which is a tiny little town in the middle of nowhere with the Lego offices, Legoland, the Lego house, and a massive international airport. But if you go there, then all the sort of stuff you want to see, I mean, there's Lego everywhere. There are piles of Lego you can get in and kind of swim around in. There's big, huge displays. There's a masterpiece section as well. So each year they take in a selection of fan builds and they display them in a masterpiece gallery right at the very top of the building. So you can see just outstandingly amazing things that people have done around the world. So of the two, I would do Lego. I mean, you could do them both in Billund. It's not a big place, but Lego House is definitely the place to go.
Well, that's on the list in Billund. And I don't know if there's anybody on the call who's actually from Lego, who works for Lego. If you are, please reveal yourselves. I don't think there is, but I wondered, do I remember, and I'm dredging this up from my darkest depths of my memory, watching a documentary about a man who got a dream job being a Lego set designer.
Oh, that's Justin Ramsden.
And he lives at Lego in like a sort of Lego commune type situation.
They have company housing. So for new employees that go there, they get put up in company housing in Billund. I mean, Lego basically owns the entire town there. So they'll put you up and help you move in and help you move to Denmark and things like that. But Justin was, he was a UK fan and he was one of in the UK's Lego user group. I met him first in 2006, I think. I've got a picture with me and a very, very young Justin, but he worked at Legoland for a little bit as well, I think, and then moved on to Lego.
Do you know what? My colleague Ed Davidson has just posted in the chat that we need to do a tortoise company offsite in the Lego house. And I think what we'll do is we'll divert the budget we had set aside for the giant tortoise that Steve has selfishly refused to build for us, put it towards the trip to Denmark to go and imagine exciting futures. I might bring in Elizabeth Ferris, if I can, the mysterious E. Ferris, because you've been so active in the chat. Elizabeth, are you there?
I am there. Hi.
Hi, Elizabeth. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm in the middle of my
this crew as well.
No, actually, I do follow Emma on Twitter, but I've never managed to ever be in time with any of the builds. But it's interesting to hear the other guys saying that they're doing it sort of later on. That's cool. I might do that as well. Watch the videos back when I'm building things. So.
And what do you build, Elizabeth?
So it's interesting hearing others say they like space or modulars. I'm all into my cars and vehicles. So I really like. So I'm actually currently building the Fiat 500 tonight. So I just was doing the first bag of that. So yeah, I like my cars.
Are you able to turn your camera on so we can see?
I certainly was not in a camera ready. Let's see, hold on. Oh, it has a funny back. It shows you how long it is since I've used it. Hold on, I'll try and hold up
that's a nice field.
Oh, look at that.
There, I built that tonight. So you can't really see it because I've got that silly background on and I can't get it off.
That's so annoying. Oh yes, I still yes, that's good. You're making good progress.
Yeah, so that was the first bag tonight. But I use it as I've got Lego since I was a little kid, but I use it as just sort of to relax, like as a mindfulness sort of,
So did you say you have kids and so they go to bed and you get the Lego out?
No, as a kid, when I was a kid, I actually had a little, the little place we lived, my mum and I had like a little apartment. So there wasn't much space, but there was a floored roof space. So I used to bring the ladder down as a kid and go up and it was all floored with Lego roads and tiles down. And that was my adventure space as a kid. So being an AFOL is not that odd to me, but yeah, I love building all the cars.
It's lovely to see you, Elizabeth, and good luck with the rest of your Fiat 500. So I'm gonna, if I can, I might go to Lynn Stagg, who's a tortoise regular. Are you there, Lynn? Maybe she's.
Yes, she's there. She's there.
Hello.
She's got a tremendous background.
Lynn, you're an AFOL too.
Well, I am a fan, but unfortunately at the moment I don't own any Lego. I've just been looking today thinking it's a bit late to get a bag of Lego delivered for tonight, even with the miracles of the internet. But no, I love Lego, and I used to play a lot with Lego not when I was a child, because it hadn't even been invented then. I hasten to add, I'm older than I look. And I loved Meccano as a child.
Yes.
And one Christmas when I was 60-something, I got given a very large set of Meccano that you could make into cars that you could then drive. So my dream is now to start building Lego cars.
So Lynn, if you were going to treat yourself to a set of a car, what have you got your eye on? What do you fancy?
Oh gosh, well, that's such a difficult choice. Probably either a Lamborghini or a Bugatti. Those are my favorite cars, because I actually am. I own 171 cars in
what?
I do Real Racing 3. I'm an elite driver in Real Racing.
Wow.
So.
Oh my God. Lynn, I just can't believe what I'm hearing. You own 171 cars.
Not real ones, unfortunately.
Oh.
Take too long to park.
It certainly would. This is amazing. I mean, we are having a car summit on the 25th of March. So Lynn, you are henceforth our headline speaker for that, for sure. Lovely to speak to you. I'm going to try and squeeze in a few more. Yelena, I can see you've got your little golden hand up. How you doing? Nice to see you.
See you.
Are you an AFOL too?
I'm not, but this has definitely inspired me as well to go and to reconnect with Lego, because I remember always going to my grandma's house as a child. Lego was what would keep me entertained. But I've been having, ahead of this discussion tonight, I was chatting with some colleagues about it earlier today. And it's interesting to talk about this in the context of the pandemic, I think, because I certainly found that I found solace in activities that feel productive, like I'm doing something, but also enable me to switch off. And I think that's why I've done a lot of jigsaws. I'll put my hands up to it. A lot of jigsaws, so much so that I'm now on like jigsaw exchanges with friends to make sure we're not doing the same ones over and over again. But I think that Lego does tap into that as well. It's the concept of, doing something and creating something, being literally constructive, while still, engaging other people in a social activity, whether it's your family or friends, whoever you've been able to do that with. So this has really inspired me. I'm definitely going to be going out and buying another Lego set. And it's just made me think back to my childhood and all the great memories of, like I said, being at my grandma's house.
Thanks,
I think
Elena.
actually it's one of the great things about Lego is that especially when you're doing the bigger sets, you look at it when it's done and you can't believe you made that.
Yeah,
it's really, really satisfying. So yeah, Yelena, I think you're bang on there.
Has anybody done? I have a very dear friend, another Liz actually, who couldn't be here this evening. She's lost her dad last week, and so she can't be here this evening. But she is a real proper Lego person, and she put on her Instagram something, and I've never seen it before, but it was extraordinary, a bouquet of flowers.
Oh yeah,
entirely like
yes, a new
big,
set.
you know, it's big like this. Have you ever made one of those? I mean, it just blew my mind.
It's a new set that they've only just released. They've only been out for about a month, I think, but yeah, it's a bouquet of flowers. You can't actually get them at the moment because they're out of stock. Same with their bonsai trees. So there's been a mad rush.
Look, I can see
on those sets.
Kath has the bonsai. Kath, are you there?
That's Kath Pearson.
Kath?
AFOL ahoy!
I am Kath Pearson.
AFOL ahoy! Kath, have you? You couldn't possibly show us the bonsai, could you? Is that possible?
It's upstairs. Give me a minute.
Come on, Kath Pearson, run like the
I'd
wind.
love to see the bonsai. Look, Tomini is saying wanted the bonsai. Elizabeth Ferris ordered it on New Year's Eve. Sue Crisp, mine arrives any day now. I mean, this is extraordinary, the rush for the bonsai.
Yeah, you can't get it for love nor money.
How do you know when a new set comes out?
You get an email from Lego.
Oh, you've signed up for it, have you?
Yeah. They have a thing called the VIP program, which doesn't mean you're a very important person. It just means you get advance warning about new sets coming out, and you get a little bit like a week you can buy it before everyone else can. So it just gives you a bit of a heads up. But I missed out on the bonsai tree, annoyingly.
So I've got a question here from Verse Abuda about the Lego White Noise soundtrack. Are you there, Verse? Don't know if I'm saying
yes, I am.
Hi.
What is
this? What is this White Noise soundtrack of which you speak?
So, I mean, I'm not sure if anyone else knows about it, but on Spotify, I saw it advertised that it's just basically different soundtracks of. Is anyone aware of ASMR?
Yeah. Yes, I know ASMR.
Just there's a soundtrack of someone building Lego.
Oh,
and there's a soundtrack. Yeah. And you hear the little rummaging and clicking it together. There's one track called Finding the One, and in brackets, brick. So it's just 30 solid minutes of just rummaging around in a bag of Lego.
And
I just find it the most soothing thing.
Does it make you get the tingles, the ASMR tingles?
It does. It really gets me excited for building my next model.
And what go on, Emma. Sorry. Go on.
I do ASMR builds for Lego. They're over on they're posted over on the Patreon site, but I do them every now and again. The ones that are very popular are me just counting out small bricks and tiles. I love watching them too. It's really relaxing.
Super relaxing. Thank you, Birthday. It's lovely to see you. Thanks so much for being here. And look, Kath has made it downstairs with the bonsai. Connor, can we spotlight Kath's bonsai tree, please? Because I am. Oh, well, look at Alan Harwood. Oh, no, hang on. Oh, look at that. That is something, isn't it? How big is it? Show a hand. Oh, yes. Okay. So quite diddy. Life size.
Yeah, bonsai size.
And how long did it take you to build the bonsai?
Probably about 3 hours, I think.
Okay, so quite a quick one, actually.
Yeah, and I've got some different ones to do for autumn.
Oh, that is nice.
Does it come with a load of pink frogs, Kath?
It does, 100 pink frogs to do the spring, but I'm waiting a couple of weeks to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. And can I ask how much?
Mike and Neil, I'm behind on the Ninjago City.
Ninjago Gardens. How much is the bonsai?
50 quid, something like that.
Interesting. Look, it's already 1 minute past. I'm so sorry. And I feel like I've got so many more questions. I have absolutely loved this evening. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. A particular thank you, of course, to Abby, to Emma, to Warren, and to Steve for sharing their amazing expertise and enthusiasm. I feel really sad for myself that I haven't been part of the AFOL crew.
You can always be part of the AFOL crew.
But I'm going to join. I feel like you're my people. All this time I've been listening. And there you are. It's been such fun, and thank you for joining us. We're going to try and put together a few more thinkers like this because, you know, much as we could have all got together for an hour to talk about the budget, it would have been thoughtful and productive. It wouldn't have been half as much fun. And so we're going to try and do some sort of thinkings about people's enthusiasms, their passions, stuff that people are into that you wouldn't necessarily expect. And I hope that we will discover all kinds of communities of people like you. I'm going to start saving up maybe for a bonsai tree, who knows. Have a lovely, lovely rest of the evening. Find yourself some bricks and have a little build. And enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you so much.
Bye, AFOL.
Bye, AFOL.
Bye, AFOL.
Bye, tortoise members too.
Bye.